to our presentation is about their global operations. This is from their website, at GE's Global Operations. They span all geographic regions and primarily encompass manufacturing for local export markets, import and sale of products produced in other regions, leasing of aircrafts, sourcing of the plants domiciled in other global regions, and provisions of financial services within the regional economies. I got most of the information from their SEC filing. Actually, this is a little out of order. Let me get back out of this. Because GE is so involved on a large scale, they have 5 different segments, and he touched on some of them. Their 5 segments include their energy infrastructure division, their segment, technology infrastructure segment. They have a capital finance segment. They own NBC Universal, and they have a consumer and industrial segment. Through these segments, GE does all their business globally, and they use the same strategies in a lot of places. So, because they're so set up, involved in so much with technology, they're into people's houses, they're dealing with finances, they're very vulnerable to economic crisis, and that was mirrored in 2009 when their stock prices fell the same as everybody else's. People don't have any money, they can't buy GE's technology. But vice versa, when things are going well, people are buying GE's technology. And a lot of countries like India and South Korea, they're moving towards a more technologically fueled economy. Instead of oil, they're using sun and wind power. So GE is really big in those emerging countries. But again, they're still vulnerable to shifts in the economy. If people don't have the money to buy a new refrigerator, that hurts GE's bottom line. I'm going to pull up the annual report, and the 2007 annual report shows their operations in geographic regions by revenue. You can access this through Yahoo Finance. You can access their 10K reports, which is where this information came from. This is a little bit older. It's not the 08 and 09, but I have other information I'm going to show you from recently. But by region, the U.S. was the highest in 2007, then Europe, the Pacific Basin, Americas, and the Middle East, and Africa. And they separated the U.S. and Americas because the U.S. is such a force with GE. I mean, it's just totally different from South America and all that. All right. It also shows a pie chart by revenues. Well, the United States takes up almost half of shows up for almost half their revenues. And then also talks about assets and everything like that. And then there's also this part to the summary of their operations, and it shows their different segments. There are 5 different segments: the energy infrastructure, technology infrastructure, NBC, capital finance, and it just breaks down their revenues from the past 5 years. One thing that I noticed was how, even though in 2009 they operated on lower revenues, they operated on lower revenues here in 2009, but they actually earned more profits in 2 of their segments here. On these 2 segments, they earn more profits. They earn less revenue and more profits, and that just goes to show that even in a down economy, they find ways to be efficient in the way they do business. And then the next part to my part is about their. Where's the slide? Talks about their marketing internationally, and I could go through and talk about all different marketing techniques and everything, but by now we should know that stuff as MBA students. So I was just going to provide an example, 2 examples of GE's global efforts to market their products. And the first one's about their eco-imagination commercial, and then here, I'll just play it for you. How do we get the audio up here?
Turn off.
At GE, we're combining imagination with advanced technology around the world to make it a better place to live for everyone. GE, imagination at work.
So this is something that they play throughout the globe, different languages and stuff, but it just went around to different parts of the world and showed their different operations. They're in Florida, Germany, China, all these different places around the world, and they're all pretty much promoting their clean, greener energy and technology that really they're superior at. And then another prime example of how they're using this is in South Korea, in Songdo. It's a brand new green business district they're trying to create by 2014 or 15. And really GE's using their marketing techniques to gain investors for a city that really is just centered around business. And I have a clip from CNBC that talks about it. So
this is a fascinating story. This is a development called Songdo IBD, International Business District. It's a $35 billion master planned metropolis built entirely from the ground up along South Korea's Yellow Sea. And when it's completed in 2014, 2015, the world's largest commercial real estate project ever will be home to 65,000 residents, 30,000 of them commuting, and act as a main business hub for all of Asia. Joining us, it's another CNBC exclusive that you'll only see right here on Power Lunch. We're pleased to welcome the mastermind behind this enormous project. That's John Hines, the president and CEO of Gale International. And you actually look like you've been sleeping well.
Well, I've been sleeping pretty well this month. Thank you, Bill.
Why not do this building by building or road by road? Why all at once?
Well, I think in the case of a master plan development project like Songdo, it was critical for us to create a quality of life in order to accommodate a residential base, which then required a school base, a retail base, and enough green space to make the move into this city mature enough and worthwhile enough to then attract businesses thereafter.
Not to state the obvious, but we're watching an artist rendering a digital video concept of what it's going to look like here, by the way.
Right. That's a master plan designed by Cone Pedersen Fox out of New York, who we've been working with now for 7 years on this project.
John, why did you choose this particular location in Asia? A lot of people would have thought perhaps you would have, chosen China perhaps, or some other particular location. What was it about this particular part of South Korea that you felt would really work as a gateway for Asia?
Well, the gateway nature of this project was actually an idea that was proposed and promoted by the central government of Korea back in 1999 and 2000 after the IMF crisis in '97. They felt compelled to bring in a U.S. developer to take the lead to create a gateway city to Korea and also a hub for international business serving Northeast Asia. So the concept was really brought to our attention by the government and their domestic construction partner, POSCO Energy and Construction.
We would have asked about...
I'm going to stop it there. You guys get the idea that the reason I showed that is because in 2008, GE announced a 70-30 joint venture with Gale International to use GE's clean green energy for this new city. And GE's idea is to jump on board, show how successful their equipment is in this brand new city, and hopefully take it around the globe in places that are underdeveloped. And it's huge. So they're using this as a marketing technique. They're showing like that frog commercial to people, and that's really how they do that internationally. And our slides are kind of messed up, so we need to go back to find where we need to go.